more of I didn't really understand what was happening around me, and also it was I wanted to be like my friends. Why am I different than my friends? Well, friends, these people
Yeah.
that I thought were friends. And then
Mm-hmm.
it was more like, oh, these people are like taking advantage of me, as in like they I don't know, it's like, oh, I don't have any money, can you give me your money? I'd be like, oh, I have my money, you asking me for my money, so I'll give you my money, because I felt
Yeah.
bad them not having money. Any other person would be like,
Mm-hmm.
well, no, I don't have any money to give you, but I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, my friend is asking me for money, I'm going to give him the little
Yeah.
bit that I have. So he was taking advantage in that, that way as well. So
Yeah, and it's not being able to judge the situation
exactly,
as well as you could. Yeah.
I didn't know, but these are the things that I am scared that my daughter has to go through,
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. I try to teach her as
Mm-hmm.
much as as much as we can, me and my husband, as much as we can. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my son is a little bit different because he doesn't really have friends, because he
Yeah.
doesn't speak or anything like that. He doesn't really understand the concept of friends.
Yeah.
So he's just like, yeah, he's like a little baby almost, but he's a big baby.
Yeah.
So he's very different. So I am
Mm.
concerned that stuff like that's going to happen with my eldest,
Yeah.
and
I think it's trying to instill the coping strategies at this point. I think the younger they do get a diagnosis and the earlier that it's picked up. I know certainly it was interesting with my eldest, because from him being really small, I remember saying things like, "Look at my face. See how unhappy I am. See how cross I am. Look, Mum's happy. Look." And we didn't have a clue then. And when I spoke to the paediatrician while we were going through the diagnosis process, she actually said, she goes, "You'd be surprised how many mothers on some level have spotted that their children aren't interpreting kind of those kind of signs and facial signs and things like that, and do the things that I'd been doing." Because it was, especially as he was going through that process, I'd already had my daughter, and I realised I didn't do it for her. It wasn't a natural thing to do that to her, and for her. So I think you do find that you are putting strategies in place that you're not consciously aware that you're doing it until you read stuff and it'll say this is what you need to do, and you go, oh, I think I've already kind of been doing that anyway. I just need to step it up a little bit. But yeah, I totally agree. I think it is. It's you want them to be out there in the real world. You want them to be around everyone. You can't insulate them from everything, but you've got to try and put the things in place to keep them safe, and for them not to be taken for a ride
oh
by
god,
people who don't
absolutely.
have the best of intentions. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is my biggest fear, especially with me having a girl,
Hmm.
and I think, yeah, it's always been my biggest fear, because obviously, like, I went through a lot, and I just try to protect her from that, but
Hmm.
obviously at the same time I want her to make, her own mistakes and live from them, because you can't baby them for the rest of their lives,
Oh
autism or
no.
no autism.
Hmm.
Because yeah, life's difficult, man. Life's difficult, and
Yeah.
they will they will learn that. And we can't just keep them like, just locked in our arms for
Yeah.
the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Even though it's very tempting at times. And it's like, I mean, you're probably the same. Like after 6 months, especially when he went out that front door to his taxi yesterday morning, there was that kind of, oh, he's happy and he's cheerful and he's going and he's got up and got himself dressed, and everything on the surface is fine. Part of you still kind of, I don't want him to be upset. what if he gets stressed? Or I could just keep him here while he was here and doing his work. It was, and you can understand why so many people do homeschool, that letting go bit.
Not for me. No,
No.
I don't have the patience.
I'm at that point now where sometimes they bring homework home and I just think, well, I can't help you with this, so I can't teach you at home because you're already way ahead of where I am. You have to know your own limitations.
Don't you feel a little bit like, oh my God, they're doing this at school? What's this? I never
Yeah,
heard of this before. I can't help you because I don't even know what it is.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I definitely find that one. Yeah, that you just look at it and go, well, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I'm just,
Oh,
I think you're going to have to email your teacher and get extra help from them because I am not going to be any help whatsoever, and I'm just going to go upstairs and cry for a moment that that I don't understand year 8 work, so I'm going to have to go.
I feel bad. I feel bad because it's like I think, oh, um I'm their parent, so I'm supposed to be teaching this and that and the other, but then at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like I don't I know like random facts, stupid
Yeah,
facts or whatever. I can teach you those,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
maths or geology,
mm-hmm.
no, I can't teach you any of that stuff. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
And I think, I mean, I know I'm better with the history side, history and things I can help them with. The math side of it, no chance, not in a million years. That is not where I'm at. And I look at what they're doing now and go, I wasn't even doing that at GCSE level. I don't.
That just goes like over my head. Like, nope,
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing.
Or you do go to help them, and you'll go, well, you need to do, like, I mean, I remember when they were doing long division and stuff in primary, you need to go, right, you do this, and they'll go, well, that's not how the teachers showed us, and you're like,
Oh
well,
God.
I don't know how they've changed doing this since I was at school. I now cannot help you. I know how to do it, but apparently I know how to do it the wrong way, even though you would get
Yes.
the same answer. But
But then it's like, why are they changing math? Like, why? Like, why are they changing math? It's like, it's just for the sake of it.
yeah,
Gosh.
and I mean, I used to work as a teaching assistant in a school, like I said before, and there would be times when the way we were teaching kids would be a totally different style in maths to the way my children were in their primary school. So you'd get completely confused by what you were teaching children at school, at work, and then what you were your children were bringing home. And going, I'm just getting completely confused here, even though, like I said, you're going to have the same right answer at the end of it.
That's
I don't know
crazy.
what the.
I don't. I just said to my daughter, just use the calculator. I just tell her, use the calculator.
Yeah,
Because I just can't. I
yeah.
just like, if I say to her, oh, we do this and that, and then she goes, but that's not the right way to do it. And I'm just like, well, you asked for help.
Yeah. Well, there's that cliche thing at the minute, isn't it? That we were all at school years ago and you would get the teachers saying, well, you'll not have a calculator with you all the time. And now they're really strict on not letting them have calculators. And you're like, everyone's got one in their pocket on their phone. Why are we teaching? Unless they're going to go on and do some sort of, STEM physics kind of stuff when they leave school. This is really pointless. And
Oh,
not teaching them
absolutely.
any practical stuff.
I just think that nowadays it's like the educational system, the whole like the stuff that they learn at school. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
kids struggle, okay? Like a lot of kids, especially kids who have additional needs and are on mainstream education. I find that they
Mm-hmm.
struggle a lot, and basically some kids are treated unfairly, as in like, or if you don't do your work, you're gonna get either in, I don't know, isolation, or gonna get
Yeah.
at home or whatever, some kind of punishment. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, yeah, like kids, especially kids with additional needs, they will feel somewhat embarrassed that they can't do the same work that their peers do. So they
Yeah,
obviously,
because I used to work with those children I used to work with the children with the lower abilities and
Mhm.
the additional needs and take them out for extra work, and it was just being more patient, taking your time, trying to find different ways to explain it, so at the end they realized they could do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's confidence as well, because like you said about being described as being naughty at school, if they're constantly aware that they're on the bottom table and that they can't do it, that does become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they just look at stuff and go, well, I can't do that. And I would hear that a lot, kind of, I can't do that, and then just step back and they wouldn't access it at all. And it's also finding out what the actual issue is, because using an example of my eldest was doing year 6 SATs, and he got all the extra help, he had extra time, he got the space on his own, and I went to collect him, and his teaching assistant came out and she just said, he's not done anything, he's just looked at the paper, he's not wrote anything down.
Mm.
I don't understand what was wrong. So I took him out, took him home. We were walking home, and always the best chats were the chats on the way home where there was no distractions. And I just said to him, what was the problem? You're good at English, you manage. And he said, Mum, the question was, describe a mystery object. And I said, well, that's fine. You read books all of the time. You're always reading fantasy books and things like that. And he just said, but Mum, once I'd thought of it, it wasn't a mystery anymore. And
The
I use that
literal
quite
thinking,
often
isn't it?
as an example to people of how that kind of rigid thought pattern works. And all I could think of was, oh my God, you've sat there for 45 minutes constantly thinking of something new. And then another part of your brain's went, oh, it's not a mystery anymore. I best think of something else. So he realised that entire 45 minutes was actually far more stressful for him. He hadn't kind of tapped out of it. He hadn't decided he wasn't going to engage in it. Actually, he'd engaged in it more than anyone had realised. And when I went back into school and told them, and I've spoke to CAMs and specialist teachers and used the same story, and quite a lot of them have said, we're going to go and tell other teachers that, because that is such a good example of how that kind of brain works with it. So that's the kind of thing you find quite a lot, that their problem's not with what the question is or being able to get to the answer. It's how the question's been framed
It's how it's
in the
been
first
asked,
place and
isn't
whether
it?
they can
It's the way
access
it's been
it.
asked. Because I was just thinking to myself, like, my daughter will be like, she would be like, what? Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
she would have answered the same thing, like, there's no mystery
Mm-hmm.
anymore. But the way my
Mm-hmm.
daughter would probably react, she would get frustrated with it. And she'd be to the
Mm-hmm.
point of having a meltdown, because it's like, you asking me, a stupid question. What do I
Mm-hmm.
do? Like,
Yeah.
because she takes things so literal. Actually, I'm going to give you an example. We were talking about rain, how it was raining and stuff, and the saying, it's raining, it's raining cats and
Really,
dogs.
cats and dogs. Yeah.
She goes like, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Cats and dogs don't come from the sky. Are you mad?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
It
like,
is.
not literal. Not literally.
Uh-huh. And it is all those kind of sayings like that when I used to be with children, again, like you say, who were really young, and they'd hear someone say something, right, well, you'll need to pull your socks up, and you could see them look down at their feet and kind of be like, well, my socks are up, I don't, and you have to go, right, well, hang on, that's not actually what that's not what that means.
That means.
I think I got used to just not using stuff like that because I knew what they understood. But again, it's going back to that masking thing. If they don't want anyone to see that they're not understanding it, it can look like they're being naughty and ignoring something, whereas
Yes.
they just don't want to be in class and go, what? And they learn that lesson of just going, well, I don't understand what they're saying, so I'm just going to disengage from the situation
But also,
completely rather than sound stupid.
yeah, I get that, but also is I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about processing disorder. So I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about, yeah. So for me anyway, when people say something and I have to think
Mm-hmm.
about what they mean by it, so I'm
Yeah.
processing it. Okay, so it's not just the
Mm-hmm.
process as in like when when you're touching something or when you're eating something, or it's not just that. It's just process the speech. When people
Mm-hmm.
are talking, you just sort of like, Okay, I know what you're saying now.